Have you ever met someone who looked completely ordinary, only to discover they carried a past that could change your life forever? Imagine being one of the richest women in America, believing money could solve every problem, until the one person who finally reached your silent daughter's heart was a quiet single father sitting alone in a small cafe. What happened next left everyone speechless. For years, doctors, therapists, and specialists tried everything to help a little girl who hadn't spoken a single word after a heartbreaking tragedy. Then, in just one afternoon, she whispered 5 simple words to a stranger. Those words didn't just change her mother's life, they uncovered a story of courage, sacrifice, and kindness that no one could have imagined. Before we begin, welcome to the Kindness Hub. If stories of hope, compassion, and unexpected miracles inspire you, please subscribe, like this video, and leave a comment telling us where you're watching from. Your support helps us share more uplifting stories with people around the world. Emma Lawson was known across America as the billionaire CEO who had built one of the country's most successful technology companies. Newspapers called her fearless. Business magazines praised her leadership. Investors admired her confidence. But none of those titles mattered when she walked through the front door each evening. At home, she was simply a mother desperately trying to hear her 6-year-old daughter speak again. Lily had stopped talking after losing her father in a tragic accident 3 years earlier. Since that day, she smiled occasionally, nodded when necessary, but never spoke. Doctors called it selective mutism caused by trauma. Emma spent millions searching for answers. Nothing worked. One quiet Saturday afternoon, Emma decided to take Lily to a small waterfront cafe outside the city. She hoped a peaceful afternoon might lift her daughter's spirits. The cafe wasn't crowded. Near the window sat a man in a faded gray shirt reading a children's adventure book. Beside him was a small backpack with colorful patches sewn onto it. He looked ordinary. His name was Daniel Carter. Most people saw a construction worker. Few knew he had once served as a Navy SEAL. Even fewer knew he was raising his 8-year-old son alone after his wife lost her battle with cancer. Daniel noticed Lily staring at the drawings inside his book. He smiled warmly. "Would you like to see the pictures?" he asked softly. Emma immediately apologized. "I'm sorry. She doesn't talk." Daniel simply nodded. "That's okay," he replied. "Sometimes people have important reasons to stay quiet." There was no pity in his voice. Only understanding. He slid the book across the table without expecting anything in return. Lily slowly opened it. For several minutes, Daniel quietly drew tiny cartoon sea turtles on a napkin while Lily watched with growing curiosity. He didn't ask questions. He didn't force conversation. He simply shared the moment. Then something incredible happened. Lily reached toward one of the drawings. She looked directly at Daniel. In the softest whisper imaginable, she asked, "Does it hurt, remembering?" Emma froze. The coffee cup slipped from her hands onto the table. For the first time in 3 years, her daughter had spoken. Tears instantly filled Emma's eyes. Daniel remained calm. He gently answered, "Sometimes it does. But the people we love would want us to remember the happy moments more than the painful ones." Lily smiled. It was the brightest smile Emma had seen since her husband passed away. Over the following weeks, Emma and Lily returned to the cafe every Saturday. Daniel was usually there with his son, Noah. The children colored pictures together while the two parents shared quiet conversations. Emma eventually learned Daniel's story. He had spent years serving dangerous missions overseas. After leaving the military, he chose a peaceful life focused on raising Noah. Money had become less important than being present for his son. He never mentioned medals. He never talked about heroics. Instead, he spoke about kindness. He believed the strongest people were those who helped others without expecting applause. Emma found herself learning more from Daniel than from many executives she had worked with. One afternoon, heavy rain trapped everyone inside the cafe. An elderly man entered, soaking wet and struggling to carry groceries. Without hesitation, Daniel stood up. He took the groceries, helped the man to a dry table, bought him lunch without saying a word. The elderly man never even realized who had paid the bill. Emma watched quietly. "You do things like this often?" she asked. Daniel smiled. "My mother used to say kindness only counts when nobody is keeping score." Those words stayed with Emma. A few weeks later, Daniel received an unexpected phone call. The construction company where he worked was shutting down. Everyone was losing their jobs. Instead of complaining, Daniel simply thanked his manager and spent the afternoon helping coworkers update their resumes. Emma couldn't believe it. "You're worried about everyone else before yourself." Daniel shrugged. "They're worried too." That evening Emma couldn't stop thinking about him. The next morning she invited Daniel to visit her company's headquarters. He hesitated. "I'm not looking for charity." Emma smiled. "I'm offering opportunity." Daniel arrived wearing his only suit. As he entered the executive boardroom, dozens of senior managers stood waiting. Many assumed he was another investor. Emma addressed the room. "This man reminded my daughter how to speak." Everyone became silent. "He also reminded me what leadership actually looks like." Emma offered Daniel the position of Director of Community Outreach, leading nationwide programs supporting military families, single parents, and grieving children. Daniel looked shocked. "I don't have a business degree." Emma replied gently. "You have something far more valuable. You understand people." Months later, the company's culture began changing. Employees volunteered together. Scholarships were created. Veterans found meaningful careers. Single parents received flexible schedules. Children's hospitals received new technology. Every project started with one simple question Daniel asked during meetings. "Who needs kindness today?" The question spread through the company. Soon other businesses copied the idea. One small act inside a quiet cafe inspired thousands of people across the country. On Lily's 7th birthday, she stood before family and friends holding a small microphone. Everyone waited nervously. She smiled at Daniel. Then she spoke clearly. "My daddy is in heaven, but God sent me another hero to remind me that love never leaves." There wasn't a dry eye in the room. Daniel hugged Noah. Emma hugged Lily. In that moment, no one cared about billion-dollar companies, business awards, or titles. What mattered was one man's simple decision to be kind to a quiet little girl he had never met. Kindness has a way of reaching places that money, power, and success never can. A gentle word, a patient heart, or a simple act of compassion can change someone's life in ways we'll never